Hello, and welcome into episode 4 of Bear Ball. I'm your host, Brennan Barbu, and let's get right into it, man. The Pistons, unfortunately, go out there and lose Game 6 in Detroit. We have not won a playoff game in Detroit since the 2008 Conference Finals, and as a Detroit fan, it's definitely tough. We had an opportunity to go out there and force a Game 7, but we can't go out there and get it done. We had another close game with the Knicks. It seems like every single game we played was close, but in the clutch moments, Jalen Brunson was just too much to overcome. Clutch Player of the Year, he definitely went out there and showed why he won that award. Last shot of the game, everyone saw it. He breaks Asar Thompson's ankles. Little step back three. Everyone knew when that shot was going up that it was going in. So he went out there and he did his thing in the fourth quarters, man. Every single game, basically, other than the games that they ended up losing, he went out there and he killed it in the fourth quarter. So as a Pistons fan, it's definitely tough to see the end of the season. This was such a fun season to watch. We go from being a 14-win team to winning 44 games, and that's in a one-season jump. We go from having the highest paid coach in NBA history in Monty Williams to JB Bickerstaff, who's out here hungry and ready to prove a point, and that's exactly what he did, man. This playoff series, it just feels like it could have went a lot different for us if we were at full strength. We were missing Jaden Ivey for about half of the season, maybe even a little bit more than that, and Isaiah Stewart couldn't go, and that would have helped us a lot in guarding Karl-Anthony Towns. Jalen Duren's a nice player, but he's not the defender Isaiah Stewart is. And I really believe had we had beef stew, that could have changed some things. I'm not saying that we definitely would have won the series with them, but you give us both those guys more time to let this core get more experience and age, and this team could be really scary, man. You get a couple pieces around Cade. I definitely think we could use some more bench help. I think we could use some more help on the wings as well, and I'm excited to see what the future for the Pistons hold, man. The Knicks now find themselves up 2-0 in this conference semifinals against Boston. And it's just wild how much happens in 1 week in the NBA playoffs. It just feels like so much has happened since last time I talked to you guys. So in games 1 and 2, everyone's talking about how Boston Celtics went out there and shot 25 of 100 from 3. Just taking 100 threes in 2 games seems crazy, but we all know that's the Celtics style. That's what Joe Mazzulla wants, and that's what they do, man. But when you go out there and shoot 25 of 100, and you lose one game in overtime and another game at the very end by, I believe, it's 1 point, then it seems like if we just hit a couple more of those threes, we're up 2-0 in this series instead. So the strategy, I don't think it's going to change much from the Celtics. I think they're going to go out there. They're probably going to shoot somewhere right around 40 to 50 threes like they always do. And it can just get frustrating to watch. I mean, this is a team with more talent, honestly, than the Knicks have. And it feels like, why can't Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, when it's getting tough out there and the team just needs a bucket, they should just go out there and get to the rim. But instead, especially with Jason Tatum, it feels like all the time he'll have these open lanes and he wants to hit the step back three. He wants to hit it so bad that defenders are not even falling for the first move, which is going to the basket, which is what opens up your step back three. People keep talking about the shooting as if the Knicks aren't playing good defense on these shots. To me, it seems like most of these shots are pretty contested. Maybe they're not smothered defense, and when you look at the analytics, it seems like they're saying a lot of these shots are more open than they look to my eye. But when you have someone closing out on you, especially when your team is shooting so bad and no one's seeing the bucket go in, it's not a good shot. They need to find easier ways to score buckets other than just drive and kick. Not only is it boring to watch for NBA fans, it's not working for them right now. Last year, they get to a championship by, honestly, I'm not going to say it was lucky. They were the best team last year. I think they probably would have won the championship anyway. I think it just would have been harder. But in every single series on their way to the finals, it seemed like somebody went down. Now, them going out there and beating Dallas the way that they did in the NBA finals is more than enough evidence to me that they were the best team in the NBA last year. But as most of you guys should know, my pick from episode 1 to win the NBA Finals was Boston. So seeing them go down 2-0 like this, am I a little bit worried? Absolutely, of course I am. But honestly, I do feel like this is a series they can come back from. Now, they need to go out there and win Game 3. That is obviously more important than anything. You go down 3-0, you're not coming back. So they go out there, win game three, and once that happens, I think anything is possible, man. They, with momentum back on their side in game four, seeing the because if they do win, I assume it's going to be playing the way that they always do. Okay, I don't think Joe Mazzulla is going to go out there and tell us guys we need to change everything we've been doing for the past 2 years. What's going to happen is he's going to say we're not making our shots. We need to get a couple more open looks, and if we do that, then we win these games, man. Personally, I would like to see them adjust the game plan a little bit, and I think that Jason Tatum knows that he can't keep doing what he's been doing late in these games. He's turned the ball over in crucial moments now in both game one and two. So he's got to find a way to be better in the end of these games. I am going to predict right now Boston goes out there and they win both game three and game four. It's going to be tough, but I think they have more than enough talent to get it done. But in the NBA, there's been so much parity lately, man. We have not seen not only a repeating champion since 2019 with the Golden State Warriors, we haven't seen a team get out of the second round. The defending champion, I mean. We have not seen the defending champion the following year make it to a conference final since those Warriors. In 2020, the Raptors lost in 6 in the semi-conference finals. The Lakers would lose in round 1 in 2021 to the Phoenix Suns. That happened in 6 games. The Bucks lose in 7 to, I believe that was the Boston Celtics in 2022. That was also in the semi-conference finals. 2023, the Warriors lose in 6 to the Lakers. That was in round 2 as well. And then we all know last year in 7 games, the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to take out the defending champion Denver Nuggets. So if the Knicks are able to take out Boston, then that will be, 6 years in a row since we haven't seen a champion go to the conference finals. Now, as a fan of the NBA, of course, I love to see all these different teams getting in the mix every year. It's a lot of fun. But at the same time, you always want something to sink your teeth into and watch year after year. So it would be nice to be able to see, even if we don't get a repeat champion, at least a champion go out there and have a nice defending year. And I really think that is possible for Boston, man. First off, I think that the Knicks are honestly a better road team than they are a home team. Everyone always talks about MSG being this crazy home court advantage. I don't think people get very worried playing in MSG. They like it. Cade Cunningham said that he had so much fun there. He was having a great time. Detroit wins both of their games in the Garden. Boston, I definitely think that they are more than capable of winning in Madison Square Garden. However, if this is going to happen, it all starts with the best player on the team, Jason Tatum. He's shooting terribly. I saw that this is the worst 2-game shooting stretch in his entire career from 3. He has put up 5 of 20 from 3. That comes out to 25%. And, that's definitely not going to get it done. If you want to go out there and shoot 23s in 2 games, you got to find a way to make him, fall in the basket. Game 2, you saw Tatum slightly switch his strategy up. He took only 5 threes in that game compared to 15 in game 1. So he's definitely the type of dude who gets hurt by criticism in the media, and he's going to receive more and more of it if he can't turn it around. I mean, last year, when they go on to win an NBA championship, he doesn't win conference player MVP, and he also doesn't win finals MVP. Then he goes on to the Summer Olympics to get benched by Steve Kerr, and then he comes out here and has a great year. He's trying to prove to the world, like, hey, I can be a top 5 player in the NBA. He even believes that he is the best, or not, maybe he doesn't believe he is the best at this moment, but he has been on record saying, why can't I be the best player in the NBA? And it's for reasons like this. He has not been a consistent playoff performer, in my opinion, in the biggest moments. Of course, his teams have gotten deep into the playoffs pretty much every year of his entire career, and he's been always available for the playoffs. If you look at his playoff stats, they're good. He's not someone who gets worse in the playoffs overall statistical wise, but when you're watching, he's not having that impact that you think of other superstars, other generational talent is a big word for him. He's not a generational talent, but he is one of the better players of this generation, and he's just not as consistent in the playoffs as you'd want him. But again, I'm talking about the biggest moments. When I feel like he's needed most by his team, I don't think he's out there delivering. And he really needs to change that right here in Game 3 that's happening tonight. Because if he can't, then his Boston Celtics are going to be facing elimination. And they're not coming back from 3-0. I can tell you that right now. All right, so now on to my other finals team I chose in episode 1, the OKC Thunder. Now, right now, the Denver Nuggets lead the series 2-1. I told you that the Clippers were going to beat the Nuggets in round 1, and unfortunately, I was wrong. Game 7 came around, and just like I predicted, a James Harden playoff collapse. I just predicted that it would happen too late. He brought it a little bit early this year, and it was terrible. Kawhi Leonard, he did not play up to that standard said that he would need to play at for them to win that series. And Denver, they go out there and win in 7. They dominated Game 7, made it look easy. And then just 2 days later, they go out there and they beat OKC in Game 1 when OKC had a week's rest after sweeping the Grizzlies. So definitely not a great look there. But then Game 2 comes around and it's a fucking blowout. 149-101, I believe the final score was. That is utter domination. Jokic, he fouls out in the third quarter, and you can't have that if you're Jokic in a big game like that, trying to go up 2-0. But then they come right back in Game 3, and they take the W, man. They go and they win 113-104. Jokic, again, doesn't have a great game by his standards, but the entire team, they came out, pulled through, and Denver is a solid team. When I told you that OKC was going to go to the finals, I told you a lot of that, in my opinion, was based on matchups. I know that they're a young team. I know that they're inexperienced in the playoffs. But I thought if they could get the Clippers in round 2, that would propel them into going to the Western Conference Finals after just dominating the Grizzlies and beating an experienced Clippers team. But the Denver Nuggets, that is not the matchup that I wanted for them. I don't think it's a great matchup for them. But I definitely think they can still go out there and win this series. Now, this series is a great example of inexperienced, talented team versus an experienced championship team. Now, the inexperienced team here is, they won 68 games in the regular season. Now that they've won 5 games in the playoffs, what does that make them? 73-14. So that's an incredible record. They go into the playoffs as the odds-on favorite to win it all. And now they run into the Denver Nuggets, 2 years off of a championship run, 50-32 in the regular season. And this regular season for them was up and down at certain points of the year. At points in this year, they looked like just that championship team that everyone was terrified of. And at other points in the year, they were going on losing streaks, looking like they were not gelling. And in these playoffs, with Nikola Jokic stepping up, not just as a player, but as a player coach now, really, the Denver Nuggets are dangerous. They are just so experienced. They have so many different guys who have been in big moments in the playoffs, and they know how to get the job done. From Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, to, even Russell Westbrook. Maybe he hasn't gotten done in the playoffs at the level of some of these other guys, but you still got to worry about having a multi-time first-team All-NBA point guard coming off your bench. So, for OKC, we've gotten some really nice play out of Jalen Williams. I think SGA has played very well in these 3 games, but Chet Holmgren, he's been up and down. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's doing the best he can on Jokic. And that's actually a big point that needs to be talked about is these last 2 games. I know one of them was a blowout, and he got ejected in the third quarter, so that kind of throws the stats a little bit. But he has had a rough last 2 games, man. He's out here shooting 14 of 41 from the field. That's only 34%. And 2 of 14 from 3 in these last 2 games. That's just 14%. That for Nikola Jokic is just unheard of. Those are terrible numbers. Now, watching the game, it didn't feel like he was playing that bad in Game 3. He still had an impact like he always does. He's the focal point of the entire offense. But, the guys around him, they were able to lift him up. He had multiple other guys go out and put up 20. With Aaron Gordon put up 22, MPJ coming back, put up 21, and Jamal Murray having a nice 27-point game. So, when you get that out of your starting 5, that is tough to beat. And I've always thought Denver, in my opinion, has the best starting 5 in the NBA. I know that there's some competition with that when you talk, when you're talking Cavs, if you're talking Boston, and even the Knicks have a really nice starting 5. But I think Denver's is the best. When you have Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, as that 6th man as well, this team is incredibly talented. So, do they have the capability of throwing off the number 1 seed OKC Thunder? Absolutely. They have home court advantage. They're up 2-1. If they go out there and win Game 4, go up 3-1, that's going to be a really tough situation for OKC to come back from, even if you have 2 of those games in your building. So it's going to be a tough road here for OKC, but this team is so talented on both the offensive and defensive end that they have the ability to come back in the series. You go out there and score 149 points, including like 90 points in the first half, which was not just a playoff record. I think that was an NBA record for points in the first half. They are explosive. So there's no way you can count this series, for either team yet. And I think that this one's going to go the distance. I got OKC in 7 here. So the way that they come back in this series, you need more great play out of SGA. He's been great, but again, when you're looking at him versus Jokic, right now Jokic seems to be proving he's still the best player in the world, even if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be the MVP. SGA, he only went out there and put up 18 points in Game 3, and down the stretch, it just felt like he was not there to be relied on. It felt like Jalen Williams, honestly, was taking a lot of the offense possessions into his own hands. And honestly, the inexperience for the OKC Thunder was very prevalent in that Game 3 down the stretch. The offense, it just didn't feel like it was gelling at all. It felt like a lot of ISO ball. They didn't really feel like they knew what they were fully doing. And when you're taking on an experienced team like the Nuggets, you just can't have that happen late in games. Now, OKC hasn't played nearly as many close games this year as Denver has, and that is a worry if you're rooting for OKC in this series. If the games get close, there are multiple players on Denver that you trust in those moments. Now, who do you trust on OKC? I think you can trust SGA and you can trust Jalen Williams. Now, Jalen Williams has stepped up a lot lately. I am starting to see him as a guy who could maybe even take a leap up into that superstar category. I really like the way that he drives the ball, and his shot's not bad, man. I mean, he's a bit of a streaky shooter. If he's on, he's on. If he's not, he's not. But he's a guy who can take it to the rim. He's not scared to take mid-range jump shots, and he's not scared of the big moments. He was out there taking a lot of shots in that fourth quarter in Game 3. Even if he is not the best as the focal point of the offense, that really should be SGA. He's a player who I see in the future being a really good number 2 to SGA. Now, that number 2 to SGA is supposed to be Chet Holmgren, he's not having like the worst series. I think some people are out here making it seem like he's been so bad because of what happened in Game 1 with those 2 missed free throws, which leads into the Aaron Gordon buzzer-beating shot to take Game 1. And since then, though, he's put up 15 and 18 points in each of their efforts, and he's out there playing his best on the boards. He's playing decent defense on Jokic, and I think that he just needs to take a step up offensively in this series, probably very soon here, if this team is going to find their way into the NBA championship. Chet Holmgren is a very talented player, but him being so skinny, it definitely is showing that it can be a problem in these playoffs that are so physical. People are bumping, they're pulling, and it feels like he's flying around a lot because he's not physically capable of staying on his feet, honestly. So for OKC, man, you need MVP play from SGA. You need Jalen Williams to keep doing exactly what he's doing, and you need Chet to play more like a number 2, not like a number 3. On top of that, keep playing the defense that they've been playing, honestly. I think that they've done a pretty decent job on Nikola Jokic outside of Game 1, and the rest of the dudes on the team, you can't stop everybody, all right? Like I said, Denver's got a really good starting 5. It all starts with Jokic. If you can slow down Jokic, not just as a scorer, but as a passer and a facilitator, then you have a chance to win. So, I mean, I'm definitely excited to see how the rest of that series plays out, man. Now, on to our next one. We got Minnesota and Golden State. So, this series was, in my opinion, going to be so much damn fun. You were going to have Anthony Edwards against Steph Curry, and it was going to be an all-out war. But unfortunately, Steph Curry goes down in the first half of Game 1 with a hamstring pull. Now, shockingly enough, this is the first muscle injury of Steph Curry's entire career. That is really incredible for his age and how much he runs around on the court. Because if you watch Steph, I know a lot of people, you probably have heard about all the stats, how he runs like a mile a night. But when you're watching it, he gets open by sprinting around screens, bobbing and weaving his way around the court, and it's taxing. So the fact that he's gone this long without pulling a muscle is just crazy to me. Now, because he has never pulled a muscle this bad, this is a different type of recovery for him. So can we just trust that he's going to be himself in 1 week's time after a grade 1 hamstring pull? I just can't see that being the case. Now, not to mention, he won't be back until Game 6. Now, the only reason that they're gonna be able to possibly have him back at all is because I believe that there's a 3 day gap because the Chase Center is being used for another event in that time frame. In round two, that is very unheard of. Normally, it's every other day you have games, so you have 3 entire off days. That is, if you're a Golden State fan, that right there might just be your saving grace. But unfortunately, though, without Steph Curry, I'm not even so sure this is even going to reach a game six. Game two was just so easy. It felt like it didn't really feel like a real competition. 117 to 93 was the final score. And again, it really just felt easy. Without Steph Curry out there, who do you really trust on Golden State to go get you buckets? Jimmy Butler, he had a great game in that play-in, but he's not playoff Jimmy. He hasn't shown that since his injury, at least. He goes out there in that game, he puts up 17 points, 6 for 13, only put up 13 shots. When your team needs you like that, it's just not what you expect from him. Obviously, Draymond Green's not a scorer. Paz is not going to create his own offense. And you cannot count on Buddy Hield to be some kind of savior. The reason that he was shooting so well in these playoffs is because he's getting space. The reason he's getting so much space is the defense is worried about Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. Without that, I don't see any way that this team is going to go out there and really compete with the Timberwolves. I don't even think that it's going to be close. So, unfortunately, I think the Timberwolves, unless there's a crazy injury or they just start playing terrible basketball, I don't really see any way that the Timberwolves are not going to the Western Conference Finals. I was hoping for a nice, 6-7 game series here, but I'm not seeing that right now. And it's just unfortunate, man. I talked about how Anthony Edwards had a chance to get another pelt on the wall, another legend taken out, but, with Steph Curry taken out this way, it won't really feel like that in NBA history. It'll more so be he got there because Steph got injured when he was playing some great basketball and looking like, if you look since his Jimmy Butler trade, it looked like the Warriors were one of the best teams in basketball. They were playing the best defense in basketball. They were offensively, they were, very good. With Pods and Buddy Hield getting opened up because Steph Curry's gravity, that team was really a threat, and you never knew what could have happened. But unfortunately, this is more than likely going to be how their season ends, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do next year. I would assume that the plan mainly is to run it back with Jimmy, Steph, Draymond. Maybe find some other good pieces you can put around. Pods will definitely be back. We'll see about Buddy Hield and some of the other pieces on that bench, but the Golden State Warriors team, it seems that they're going to do whatever they can to maximize Steph Curry's career. And you just love, as a mid-market franchise, you'd love to see that. I know they're in San Francisco, but since San Francisco is not the market that Los Angeles is, so to see them doing whatever they can in their power to give their one legendary player that they really have had in their entire franchise. I know that technically the Warriors had Wilt Chamberlain, but that was back when they played in Philadelphia, so that doesn't really count. And but they're doing whatever they can to get the most out of him while he's still playing. So can Steph Curry win another championship? It's very interesting because where does that put him all time? A lot of people already have him somewhere in that 9 to 12 spot. For me personally, he lands somewhere around 11, 12. But with a fifth championship, honestly, I don't see how you can keep him outside your top 10. He really did change basketball in a lot of ways, man. And it's gonna be interesting to see what the Warriors do from here on out. All right, and the final series that we gotta talk about, man, we gotta talk about Indiana and the Cavs. So the Pacers, I told you I underrated them. They are a damn good team. Yeah, Pascal Siakam, he's been such a good playoff performer really his entire career. Not saying that he's a legend in the playoffs, but he always seems like a guy who's going to step it up. He's going to go get you timely buckets. And alongside of him, Tyrese Halliburton has been playing great in these playoffs. Last playoffs, he gets his team to the conference finals, and then he goes down with an injury. So you never know really what could have happened with that team. Obviously, I think the Celtics were more talented, but he's back with a vengeance this year. He's back to prove that was no fluke, that he can get his team to contending status, man. This team is just surrounded with a lot of talented players. They might not have the names of the Cavaliers, but together as a unit, they are just a damn good team. Now, the Cavaliers, obviously, in Game 2, they were missing some huge pieces, and that kind of led, in my opinion, to an easy defeat there. And I won't even necessarily say it was easy. They definitely went out there and they competed. Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, another player that always just seems to raise his game another level in the playoffs, man. He is attacking the basket like crazy right now. And you just love to see it in this, shooting era, to have a guy who's just so dedicated to getting his team more buckets that he's going to go to the rack every time. And he's been taking some damn hits down there, man. But game three, they get their dudes back and they go out there and they take game three in Indiana. So now this series is right back to being a series. If the Cleveland Cavaliers can go out there and win game four, they take home court advantage right back in a 3-game series with game 5 and 7 in their building. And I gotta be honest, man, I love watching their defense. Having Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley down low is just so crushing. They go out there and they get 5 combined blocks in game three, 3 extra steals there by Evan Mobley as well. And that defensive front court there is just, they are dominant, man. It is fun to watch. The two of them also go out there and combine for half of the team's rebounds in that game. So it's a lot like watching one of those old school teams where you got two big men down there battling every single night. And in this series, man, that can create a lot of havoc. The Pacers are definitely not a bad 3-point shooting team. They shot 36 a night, and they shot about 36% on those attempts. So that's definitely that's about middle of the league right there. But personally, I think they're gonna have to start hitting some more of those if they want to go out there and win this series. Tyrese Halliburton, Naismith, they have multiple guys who are able to go out there and hit the three when they need it. So in this series, I think they're gonna need it a little bit more, honestly, with those two down low. But this is another series that I honestly expect to go the distance. I am gonna take the Cavaliers to go out there and win Game 4, and I think this one's going 7, man. Now, for my predictions that are coming, halfway into all these series, which is a little bit unfair, but I'm taking Boston Celtics and I'm taking the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then in the West, I'm gonna say it's gonna be OKC, and I already told you Timberwolves are gonna win that series easily. So right now, those are my predictions. Even though OKC and the Celtics are down, they're definitely not out. Definitely don't count them out yet, man. And I just want to say these playoffs have been a lot of fun to watch. Every single night, basically, we're getting some crazy games. We've gotten a lot of low-scoring games, a lot of physical games, and I'm just happy that we're getting this kind of basketball when it's most important. They're finally letting people play, and it's one of the most fun playoffs I can remember watching in the last few years, honestly. And it's very fun as well to see a lot of these teams be healthy. Now, I know Steph Curry just goes down, so that tampers things, but outside of that, there's not a lot of big injuries on these teams, so it's been a lot of fun to watch. But now it's time to get into some NFL news, man. Just today, Derek Carr of the New Orleans Saints has announced his retirement after 11 seasons. It's pretty early retirement for him, but unfortunately, this one has to do with health. After surgery with his shoulder, he's had more damage to his rotator cuff than he's comfortable playing through. For him, obviously, if health is the issue, then step away from the game. Good for you. You made your millions. Go live the rest of your life as you deserve to, man. But unfortunately for the Saints, this is a really rough quarterback situation. Their quarterback room right now is looking awful. They have Spencer Rattler, they got Tyler Schrow, and they have Jake Hayner. I'll be honest, I don't know who that is. Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Schrow, though, neither of them I don't think that they're good NFL quarterbacks. They were both serviceable college quarterbacks, so to see them being right now the option for them, that obviously cannot happen going into the season. So I assume we'll see some kind of trade. Now, I told you I thought they were going to go out and draft Shedeur Sanders in the first round. They didn't do that. They go out and they get the Louisville quarterback in the second round. Personally, I don't think that he is much in the NFL. He's a tall guy with a big arm, kind of like a Josh Allen prospect, if you will, but I definitely don't think he's more talented than Shedeur Sanders. Now, what do I know? I said he was going in the first round. He didn't go to the fifth round, so obviously the NFL insiders and the team and executives and coaches, they know more than I do, and he was selected far higher than him, so maybe I don't have much room to talk there, but personally, I think that maybe they will see that as a mistake, depending on how Sanders' career goes. So now they're left with, a second rounder, more than likely going to be taking the starting position. They're saying that they're going to compete, but if that is the plan, I don't think that the Saints are in for a very good year once again. I didn't think they were in for a good year anyway, honestly. That cap situation has been the worst in all of football for years now, and it's going to take multiple years to recover from it and have another competing team. So to see your quarterback bow out after 11 seasons in the NFL, only what was it, 2 seasons with the Saints, both in which you don't really even sniff the playoffs, and unfortunately, that all that money you went out and paid him, it didn't end up working out for you. So another bad move by the front office of the Saints. If I'm a Saints fan, man, I'm depressed because this front office that got me in this situation is not supposed to get me out of the situation. And why would I have any faith in that? Drew Brees, since he's left, this poor organization has been nowhere near competing, and I don't think that they're anywhere close to competing for a while now. So this is also very interesting for the Aaron Rodgers discussion. Aaron Rodgers currently still has not had very much news at all come out about where he's going to be playing. We know that he's not going to be playing for my Jets this year. Aaron Glenn doesn't need any of that. And we think he's going to go to the Steelers, but that still hasn't been confirmed. And we're not really so sure why we're waiting. Is it going to happen still with the Steelers? We're not positive. Do the Steelers still want to go in that direction? Their quarterback room is currently very weak with Mason Rudolph looking like the number one guy there. Will Howard got drafted there as well out of Ohio State. I don't necessarily love his arm. I don't love his talent, but I do love his intangibles. I love his work ethic, and I think that those things sometimes can translate to being a decent NFL quarterback, depending on if the franchise believes in him. So I guess that we'll see if they have any faith in Will Howard or if they're going to go with the Mason Rudolph route. But personally, I don't know if I'm the Steelers that I want to get involved in the Aaron Rodgers business. He has not been a very good quarterback the last few years. He's kind of been a meddling quarterback even before his injury. We all saw what happened with the Detroit Lions, eliminating them in Lambeau from playoff contention. And I feel like ever since then, he just has not felt like that quarterback who's still capable of moving the needle for a team. The Steelers, they've been competing now for years without great quarterback play. We haven't got good quarterback play for the Steelers since Ben Roethlisberger was still in his prime many years ago, and they still find ways to not have losing seasons to make the playoffs. So I think, honestly, either you go out and try to make a trade for another one, maybe you try to build up Will Howard, or I'm honestly not so sure what the Steelers should do with their quarterback room, but I personally wouldn't want Aaron Rodgers. But for the Saints, you literally have no one to go off of. So having Aaron Rodgers come in, I think that could at least sell some tickets. I know Aaron Rodgers probably wants to go to a team that he thinks is capable of competing. So would he even check out the Saints? I only think that he would check them out if he really believed he wasn't going to get signed by anybody else. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers wants to go the route of a experienced quarterback, kind of waiting in the weeds for a starting quarterback to get injured and then replace that spot, because that happens just about every year. But Aaron Rodgers, I think that he would be great in that role. Honestly, I think he'd be better in that role than a day one starting quarterback. But I don't think that's what Aaron Rodgers wants personally. He has never talked like a guy who would be willing to do something like that. So I guess we'll see what happens if a team ends up picking him up, if it's the Steelers, if it's the Saints. But, that's definitely an interesting story to keep up. But with the NFL, as soon as these NBA playoffs are over, I will be starting to give you my opinions on who's going to be winning what divisions, my over-unders for the year. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely looking forward to getting more into the NFL season once this NBA playoffs is over, man. But I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who's gotten this deep into episode 4. I've been having a lot of fun doing this. Don't forget, you can find this podcast on not only YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, but you can also find this podcast on Amazon Music and others. So I hope everybody has a great day, and never forget, you only live once, so don't waste time on negativity. See you next week.